Hey all, hope you're having a fantastic day. So today I'm going to talk about the Wuben X4. Wuben was awesome enough to send this out to me to test it. I'm sorry, I got a sinus infection going on, so my voice sounds weird. If it's the first time hearing me, this is not how I normally sound, but I'm rolling with it. So yeah, so they were awesome enough to send this out to me, and this is a really cool flashlight. Now I am not good with the whole lumen thing. I just generally use flashlights. So I will definitely show you the specs in the user's guide, which includes the how many hours it runs, and in one of the use cases that I have, which is going to be the side light for reading books and whatnot at night, that has an enormous hour lifespan on it, so that is really awesome. But yeah, this is a very powerful flashlight. It does go a max output of 1500 lumens with the 205 max beam distance, so it's definitely a powerhouse in a little package. And reading the specs, as far as when I see it, it's really bright. So to me, it's super bright. So that is awesome. But what I do want to walk you through is the layout of the flashlight, the really the pros of it. It's actually really nice. And in the box, you get the flashlight, of course. You get the charging cable, which is hooked to the magnetic back of it. And after I do this first intro, I'll switch the video. I'll let it turn to night here, and then I'll kind of show you my use cases. I will end this one with one of my main use cases of flashlights and something they got right, which is the pocket clip. But yeah, I'll save that. There'll be a different, like a fade in, fade out. Basically, use iTunes Movie Maker to do that. But so yeah, the layout of this flashlight. So one thing I always complain about with the lithium, the rechargeable flashlights is, well, you can't replace the battery. If the battery goes bad, you're stuck, which is why I had always kind of gravitated to the AA, AAA battery powered flashlights, which of course limits the utility of them because they can't be very bright. So what you have here is you have a lock, and you got here, you got a replaceable battery. So all you have to do is pick up an extra battery, and that does have a lock on it, so you can't accidentally open it. So if you pick up a replacement battery, just as you would a AA, AAA flashlight, you have the ability to change out batteries if it goes dead. So that fixes that issue I've had with rechargeable flashlights that have batteries built in, that also, when the battery goes bad, you got to pitch the flashlight because you can't replace the battery. So that is awesome. It not only increases the longevity in the field, it increases the longevity of the flashlight over the lifespan. And I did have to read the directions, and if I do send it into strobe mode, there is the potential I will try to do post editing if I accidentally do that, or just reshoot the video. I will try to warn you when I put it into strobe mode, just for those that can't deal with the strobe lights. So I will do my best to let you know on that. But one thing that is really nice, because the tail switch is always active in the on mode, is on here you have an off, side light, basically the turbo mode, and the moonlight mode. And the moonlight mode, I think, is 5 lumens, which one would think, what's that great for? Well, so now I put it into moonlight. I slid the switch all the way up. And I will say, I did have to read the directions to figure out like how to get switch from white light to the RGB, the color changing aspect of it. But it was pretty easy to use. I figured out 80% of the function of the flashlight just using it on my own. Between this little thumb wheel here, so you got a thumb wheel, you got a switch here, you got a tail switch, and then you have your slider. So then, now that I'm in moonlight mode, I can turn it on with the tail switch, Like I said, I think it's 5 lumens, but this is great for my wife's in bed and I'm trying not to trip over everything as I go to bed. It's great for that. And then you also can turn it on there. So that is, for me, that's probably going to be the most used feature, just to get around the house at night without waking anybody up, because I am the one that stays up the latest. Now we have the turbo mode, and so I had rotated it down so you can, oops, there you go, and that is full on turbo down to, it does a blink when it's at the bottom setting for this mode, and then it does a blink when it's at turbo. And as you can see, it's very bright, and if you put your hand in front of it, it is very warm. So as you could see, it remembers the brightness that you had, so I'll turn it down really low. And then, but if you hit the tail switch, it is a momentary turbo. So it's, I guess that would be considered the tactical portion of this. So if you're in a situation where somebody comes up on you, you can just go and it will hopefully scare them off. Now, just a warning to everybody, I think it's going to flash now. If I do 2 clicks on the, yep, if you do 2 clicks on the tail switch, it will do the flashing light, which is a further deterrent. So that is really nice. And when I let go of it, it stays on until you click the tail switch again. So that is a real nice deterrent if you're out late at night and someone's up to trouble, you can use the light to hopefully startle them and get away. But as you can see, you can, and again, I like the memory on this. You can use this to change the brightness, and I know the turbo mode gets a lot less battery life, and it does, you put your hand in front of it when it's in turbo, it does get very warm. And I'm sure the front of this gets very warm because it puts out a lot of light, which equals heat. And this is kind of the coolest one. So a single click here will turn on the side lights. Now to switch between the RGB and the white, you just hold it down and then you can rotate through the colors, which is kind of cool. So now what all the colors are good for, other than being really cool, I'm not sure. But this red light is actually really nice for me. I do some astrophotography, not as much as I like to, but I definitely need to do more. So I could use the red light for astrophotography because it doesn't, you can look at the settings on your camera, it doesn't kill your night vision. So I can definitely make use of this out doing astrophotography. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I definitely see a use case for this for me. You can turn up the brightness. And for me, this would be reading at night. So you can just kind of stand it up and I could read a book or whatever in the dark and not have to have all the lights on in the house and wake everybody up. And again, now we are going to have some flashing lights, just so for anybody that is has issues with that. So if you double click this, you get a 2-color flash. And then if you click, actually, you gotta do multiple double clicks. So if I double click again, it'll change colors. Double click again. There you go. Switches between 2 colors. So yeah. And then let's see. Nope. Yep, just between the 2 colors. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled not blinking mode. And then again, and also if you're in this, so let's say you're on a bike, you got it on your backpack or on the front just so people can see you. The Now again, I'm going to just put it may blink out there just in case it does, but I'm pretty sure it just goes into the turbo. Yep. So the tail switch, even in the side switch mode, goes into that tactical turbo. So, which is really nice again, as if you have, you got it blinking or you had the red light on just for visibility at night so people can see you, whether you're on a bike, whether you're walking, jogging, whatever, but you still have the tactical feature just to scare anybody away. And of course, I could make it do the strobe as well. But the only place that you don't get the turbo is the tail switch just works. Moonlight mode is just straight up moonlight mode. And then you get the off, which if it's in your pocket, locks both the tail switch and the front switch. So last thing before I do a break, and then due to the movie maker in Apple, you will see like a fade in, fade out. I got part 2 and part 3 of how I'm going to use it. I'm going to attempt to show how this works for reading a book in the dark with the side light, and then I'm going to make use of the magnetic tail on it to show you a use case there. But one huge thing that I've seen a lot of flashlights get wrong is the pocket clip, because one would initially think, why would you have the light up on the pocket clip? And the reason is so that if you put it on your hat, put it in turbo mode or in bright mode. So then, example, when I was at my parents', I was working on their mower and I had to change a battery out in a dark shed. I was able to attach a flashlight to my hat so I didn't have to try and like hold it in my mouth with my teeth. You can just attach the flashlight to your hat and do the work you need, which is an awesome feature. And it's just nice that they got the clip laid out right. I wish I knew where that went, but maybe somebody in the comments can let me know. Either that or I can use it on camera. So now, before I fade to black and fade back and give you the 2 other use cases for me. Now, these are the specs for the light. Now, I'm holding them here for a long time just in case you need to make the screen larger to read it, but I got good light. But that gives you the specs and the battery life for the different modes. So yeah, that concludes kind of part 1 of this video. Part 2 will be kind of a roll in, roll out. But yeah, this is a really easy to use, really nice, user-friendly flashlight. And I think it's got a lot of use for everybody. So here is the end of part 1. All right, so this part 2 and actually part 3 are going to be great because the spirit of the season with Halloween coming up here, we're going to have darkness except for the flashlight. So this option will be to see how it works for reading a book in the dark, and I'll use the side light for that. So like if you're at a campsite or whatever and you want to read just to wind down the night, let's see how it works. So I've got the white light option. So I will stand it up. I did briefly try this, and putting it in front or at the top of the book kind of gave light in my eyes. So putting it down here works best. And let's shut the light off. And I did want to add, I do have an affiliate link. If you feel compelled to use it, that would be awesome. It'd help out the channel. But if you just want to get the flashlight and find it cheaper elsewhere, you definitely got that option too. All I care is if you like it, you want it, go get it. All right, so as you can see here, I've got the light on and I have it on the dimmer mode. And you can kind of see that it's not lighting up the whole thing. And obviously I don't want to set it on its side because it's not high enough, but if I do the little scrolly bar, I can definitely read the book no problem. It's a little bit, so yeah, it's no problem at all. But the better way to do this that I found, so yeah, obviously if I pick it up, it's much easier. It's just that kind of at that level, it's just not at a perfect level to project the light. So just getting it up even a little bit really helps. But the easiest way, to be honest, is holding it with one hand, and I could go super low light and read the book just fine. So and the most economical lighting feature, if I remember looking at the chart, was the side lights. So definitely for reading a book, this would definitely be, for me, the best option. So yeah, that is it for this part 2. Part 3 is going to be out in the engine bay of my truck, and we'll see how that looks. All right, so this one I need to do handheld. So yeah, if you need to work on your engine or look at your car to do any maintenance, you can definitely see it sticks up on the hood, no problems. And I can see in here. And I will be honest, this is the first time I popped the hood on my Tacoma. So, yep, it's an engine. And oh yes, it's a V6, not the crazy expensive V4s. But yeah, so no, this flashlight is awesome. It's got a lot of utility. It's got a good price point at, I think it's right around $50. But for that 50 bucks, you get a lot of features that you can use in your everyday life. So yeah, if you like it, take a look, go out and buy it. And if you could like, subscribe, and comment, that all helps me out, helps out with the algorithm. That would be awesome. And have a great one.